All right. So Blood Sea is one of the most traumatic anime I've ever seen, mainly because of its visuals. I guess we're just jumping right into it. So since it is the month of the spooky with Halloween, I decided to pick up a show that I've had my eye on for a long time. And, you know, I did it for a reaction series, that being the show Blood Sea. Now, of course, I went into this show knowing really a handful of things about it. Those handful of things being the brutal imagery and the creatures and the blood of Blood Sea. And other than that, I had no expectations for it, and I had no idea what was gonna happen. But of course, now sitting here after seeing the main show and then now watching the movie in my own time, and then doing research, I've discovered that I have come into the Blood franchise from the back door. I've unintentionally started watching this series in reverse, which is funny now, because if you go through my series, you can see many times in which I am like, why is this called Blood Sea? It makes sense now, because Blood Sea is the second anime series, but third in a series titled Blood. But as far as I could tell with doing research on stuff, the Blood series really begins with the Blood, the Last Vampire movie, and then it goes to Blood Plus, which is another anime show, and then it's Blood Sea. But as far as I could tell, everything else, each of them are in their own distinct universes, while all still being in the same world, sort of. Now that I've seen Blood Sea, I'm definitely going to go back and at least dabble into the other Blood stuff. I think I'll just end up watching it in reverse. I think I'll go Blood Plus and then just do that just to see how it goes. Though to be fair, going into Blood Sea, I think it was good that I did it this way because the twists and turns that happened were insane to me. Though that may not have come across in the series that I did, overall, I think I had a pretty fun time with Blood Sea. Fun in the sense that it went in places I never could have expected. This is gonna be different than my normal anime reviews that I do, just because, again, this is more the tail end of the Blood Sea reaction series I did. So I'm just gonna proceed assuming that you understand Blood Sea to an extent. I guess first of all, we'll talk about the movie just because I haven't had the chance to talk about that yet, since I did go off and watch it in my own time. But Blood Sea The Last Dark was the conclusion of at least the Blood Sea segment of this. And I'll say right out the gate, the first 5 minutes of this movie looked better than the entire show. And the show, I still think, looked pretty good. The art style and the fight scenes throughout Blood Sea, the main show, were pretty solid. I even said in the last episode that the sword fight between Saya and her father was one of the most raw sword fights I've seen in a while, at least where animation is concerned. But then going into Last Dark, I was skeptical just because where the show leaves off, again, I made the Attack on Titan comparison with that, just like, oh my god, we are going out into the real world now. What is this gonna be? And well, though I think I have some gripes with the story choices of the movie, overall, the movie, it was the conclusion of the story. And I'll give the movie props, I guess, just because Blood Sea, the anime, is one of the more gruesome shows I've ever seen. But the movie definitely held back in that regard. Like, I'd say the most gruesome and bloody part of it was in the first, like, couple minutes with the train and the one baron that she killed, who ended up being somebody who we'll talk about later. Because from that point on, like, though she fights a couple barons throughout the movie, it's not nearly as gruesome as the show, which I felt like they could have done because, again, the movie looked amazing, especially when we get to like the final fight, which is some of the most impressive CG I think I've seen in a while. From this point on, we're gonna delve into spoilers and specific plot points. So if you haven't seen Blood Sea and you've made it this far for whatever reason, I definitely recommend going and watch it. If not, well, let's just have a good time. Going back to the main show, again, a lot of my gripes with it, mainly early on, I just had so many questions. Though those questions end up being answered, now thinking back on the series as a whole, both the movie and the main show, I do like the twist ending, you know, the reveal that all of it is just an experiment, a play being put on. My one confusion is just what exactly Fumito is trying to do with Saya's blood. Oh yeah, I'm reading this just like, oh, to resolve the Shrovetide, you know, he's using Saya's blood. I've been having this back and forth the last couple of days since finishing this. I did enjoy the ending. I just don't think I enjoyed getting to the ending. Honestly, I think I have the reverse problem. I think the show should have been a movie and the movie should have been a show, just based on how much time was allocated to both. I get that with the main show, it takes a lot of the time to build up the mystery and all that and like what's going on. And then when you get to the reveal at the end of the show that it's all just a ruse, you feel like Saya in that moment where you just sort of mentally are like, what? How is this even possible? I mean, again, I'm curious to any other like blood fans out there. If you watch like the vampire movie Blood Plus and then this, does it sort of spoil the twist of C? Do you go into that being like, oh, well, what's going on here? I probably am wrong, but I read kind of the description of the movies and stuff from before, and like it kind of talked about how like, oh, there's Saya and she escaped from this institute. Like the description describes a lot of what we see in the flashbacks of Saya before she had her memory erased. Again, I think I had an interesting experience with this, and I feel like there's definitely some anime fans that experienced it like this as well. Just because, again, I've known about this series for a long time, just mainly because I've seen it in a compilation talking about like, oh, the most brutal scenes in all of anime. The scene with the rabbits in the last episode was a scene that I've seen for a long time. Again, going to more of the movie, the story was interesting just because it mainly was kind of what I thought it would be, where it's like it's Saya pretty much going on a revenge quest against Fumito. I didn't expect there to be new characters that were introduced, but like it makes sense though. I thought we were going to jump maybe a couple years, but it was only about 6 months from the show to the movie. It is interesting because like the setting of the show makes you think like it's not like super old, but it doesn't feel like super modern just in terms of the technology and stuff that we see. But of course we understand that it's a town that was built for this. But then like we go into the movie and it's like, oh, okay, this is more of a modern day, but also like kind of futuristic Japan that we're in. I thought it was going to be more of, we kind of see like a fish out of water kind of story with Saya going out into it. Saya's introduction in the movie was really cool. You know, she just comes out and she feels more powerful than what she was. I mean, just because she knows more of what she is. The characters of Sirrut, S-I-R-R-U-T, however you say that, I get what they were kind of going for with this, because Saya, by this point, who can she trust? Because anyone she once thought was her friend was actually just going along with the play. I mean, to be fair, it does lead into the twist ending of the movie, where Moguri actually ends up betraying her at the end, but not really. It was like a double betrayal. It's like he got Saya to Fumito, but then he also tried to kill Fumito, but then his death was so just quick. I was really scared because like by the end of the movie, it was like we were at the final act and I was like, there's only 20 minutes left. There's no way this is gonna be a satisfying resolution. And well, it's like, I guess we're just gonna talk about the ending. Fumito's defeat, I felt, was fitting for the character. It's like ultimately he's just like, I want to embrace you, Saya, you know, be close to you, and then like made her stab him. That was the whole thing throughout the movie. It's just like she can't kill humans, but yet the whole time she's like, I'm gonna kill Fumito. So I'm like, okay, how are you going to do that then? I mean, ultimately it was Fumito kind of taking his own life, and he ultimately just freed her from her oath. Like, I felt that was a fitting end for him, but I don't know how I feel about Saya at the end being like, I'm alone. The friends we made along the way, we just don't care about them. The characters introduced in this, the Sirrut, you know, group, I could have gone with the group being half as big as what it was, because most of them are characters I don't care. The main one was Mana. Mana and Mogari were like the main ones. I mean, even then, Mana, I feel like we got so close to having a lot with her character. This whole thing is like she's looking for her father, then it's the twist that like, oh, the Baron at the beginning of the movie was actually her father and Saya killed him, which, I mean, that didn't resolve at all. Saya didn't like go back and tell her about it. So Mana was an interesting character. I get that what they were going for is just kind of like they're mirroring each other, you know, Mana and Saya. And I do like the relationship that grows between them, even though again Saya just dips at the end. We got an answer for what the dog is. I think it's a stupid answer. The entire time, the whole thing with the dog, it turned out that it was this guy speaking through the dog, and all he was a merchant. Because the whole thing of just like, oh, I grant wishes and all that stuff, he's just the guy who supplies her with swords. It opens up more questions with that, just like, how'd you know about all that stuff with Saya? Like, how are you connected to Fumito? And then going to the end of the movie with the fucking giant bear and kaiju battle that lasted like 4 minutes. Again, the fucking CG work on that giant bear was actually really impressive to me. Like, you know, CG gets a bad rap with stuff nowadays, and you know, it definitely can look bad, but it was one of those ones where it's like, it looked like CG, but it looked good. Holy shit, there's no way this battle is lasting that long, because it was like some ufotable level like CG work. I can't necessarily say the movie was a satisfying conclusion to the series, because it just sort of ends. It felt like it was going to be a much more like drawn out battle between Saya and Fumito, and well, again, that comes back to my thing. It's like, I feel like the main show should have been the movie, and the movie should have been the show, because I felt like you could have taken more time, especially to like develop these characters with the Sirrut and all them, and then build up more to the twist twist that Mogari betrays them, sort of, or at least betrays Saya. And then you get to the end in which you get your goodbye and all that. You get like that brief glimpse of Saya walking off. So it's like she's out there still. If there's ever a Blood D, though I guess that would just be a new story, because I mean, from what I've gathered, it's like all of the Blood series, like though it's part of the same franchise or whatever, and though it does follow Saya, you know, it's all in different worlds basically. It reminds me of Fate, sort of, where it's like you can kind of watch it in whatever order. I mean, unlike with that though, where it's like Fate Zero is a direct prequel to Fate Stay Night. This is like you can really watch it however and you get the gist. I am curious though to see more of the vampire movie and then Blood Plus, just to see like maybe there's stuff that happened in Blood C that happens in those that it's like, oh, okay, so that's what that was. Who knows? Maybe the dog will make more sense if it appeared in some other stuff. Overall, Blood C is definitely a series I'm never gonna forget for trauma alone. Some of the most grotesque imagery and body stuff and gore I've seen. Definitely the most gory anime I've ever seen. And that's saying something, because I also watched Chainsaw Man in conjunction with this. Chainsaw Man doesn't even come close. It's gonna be a series that's gonna be interesting to stew on. Like, I definitely find myself being more interested in it, especially considering its twist. So I'll definitely find myself maybe rewatching segments of it again, especially now knowing the ending and the twist of it. I will say, I kind of wish in the movie she kept the like eye patch over the eye thing, because at the end of the show, it's like, yeah, that's badass. I mean, obviously she heals, so it makes sense that she wouldn't have kept it for long. It would have been a look for this movie. There was a lot of other little stuff over the course of the movie where I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, because it was ultimately telling two stories. It was wrapping up Saya's story and also doing Mana and this group. Though I feel like more time was given to the Mana story just because they were new characters, but... And also, the girl who was like Saya's friend who ended up wanting to be the governor, by the end it's like, oh, she is a governor. She ends up repealing the bill and whatever, so it's like she is good ultimately. Yuka, that character is just... I don't get what the point of view was. There wasn't even a scene where like she saw Saya again. It's like I felt like that could have been any character. I was definitely missing in the movie. I was hoping they would play like some of the music from the show, just because that music grew on me. I mean, they might have done like different renditions of it and I just didn't notice it. Overall, I think I enjoyed Blood Sea more than I'm giving it credit for. It's definitely not gonna be a show that I really recommend to people. I mean, if you can handle gore and whatnot, then sure, because I think there is an interesting story there and I think the twist is fascinating. I mean, I do love those twist endings with stuff like that where it was all part of the script, you know, it was all fake. And well, let me know what your opinions on the Blood franchise, or Blood Sea specifically, are down in the comments below. And well, this concludes my series on Blood Sea. I do kind of wish I did react to the movie. At the same time, I think it's fine just doing it like this, because 90% of what it was me kind of gushing, just like, holy shit, this looks so good. And the other percent of it being like, huh? But yeah, this was my review and final wrapping out of the show Blood Sea. You can now watch this as well as my reaction series to the main show of Blood Sea. It was definitely interesting. It's not a show I'll forget, that's for sure. And feel free to check out my rewatch of Chainsaw Man that I also did this month if you're trying to stick on the gore train. And I hope you'll join me for many other videos of this sort, be they future anime reviews, reactions, gameplay, and everything else that'll be coming out soon. So thank you all for joining me on this. I'm Lancer. Thanks for watching.